Hi students, I'm gonna do some of these questions, not all of them. I'm gonna work on them today and then next one Monday. So I think I'm gonna leave these ones for later. I'm gonna work. I think I'm gonna work this one because this one is different. It's on the exam. So this one talks about proportions. Proportion. So he's talking about a telephone pole has a shadow of 20 feet. So before I move on, this test is 1-to-1 with the final. So whatever you see here would be on the final with just different numbers. So question A would deal with something like this on the final. So telephone pole has a shadow of 20 feet long at the same time that a boy 4 feet tall casts a shadow of 1.6 feet. How tall is the pole? Okay, first I'm gonna draw the diagram for the pole. So that's a pole. No. And it says telephone book has a shadow 20 feet, so the shadow would be on the floor. So this distance here would be 20 feet. And then you have this line imaginary here, like that. So how tall is the pole? So this is a pole. So this is what they're looking for. This is the x. Now this is gonna help us find this because since the sun is hitting this way or lights, what the sun is talking about, Paul. So this length has to be proportional with also the length of the shadow of the boy. So there's a boy. It's gonna draw a boy like that, and the length here, and then this line. So the shadow of the boy is 1.6 feet. And we know the boy is 4 feet tall. That one's given right here. So now they want to know this, so you can use a proportion. I'm going over this question because we didn't fully cover this one, this type of question, but they're so easy you would be fine. So if you guys remember proportions, as long as you compare these two using the same pattern, you'll get the right answer. For example, you can go x over 20, that's one way. It's equal, so x will be corresponds to 4, so it would correspond to 4 over 1.6. That's one way. Or you can go like that across, so x over 4, because they're corresponding sides, and then 20 over 1.6. So this is feet, this is feet, and this is feet, and this is feet. You'll get the same answer if you notice x times 1.6, x times 1.6, because you cross multiply here. When you do proportions, you cross multiply. So you end up with the same equation. So 1.6x, it's equal to 20 times 4. I'm gonna take the steps like that. So same here, 1.6x, and that's in feet. Feet are gonna cancel here if you want from the beginning. And then 4 times 20, so 1.6x equals 80. Same here, right? Same. So I'm not gonna do this on this. You know it's the same equation. So all you have to do is divide by 1.6. So x, the height of the pole would be 50 feet. And that's it. So this x is equal to 50. Really easy. So let's move on to something else that we haven't covered in class. And I think is cover all of this. So let me do this one, even though we did this one, but we didn't practice enough. So this is talking about the length of a rectangle is 8 yards more than 2 times its width. So this is the question that I gave you in that section where you need to translate the 2.4, 2.5, one of those. This is where this comes from, and we did cover it like 1 day, 2 days, well, 2 sections, 2 days. That was the last section. So they're talking about a rectangle, so I would just draw a rectangle. The length of a rectangle is 8 yards more than 2 times its width. So this is like the quiz question that I gave you. A lot of you got it wrong, and then you guys will think, well, it's right, the question on the quiz, but it was an addition question. That's why it was right. But if that same question on the quiz was a subtraction question, a lot of the answers you guys gave me would have been wrong. So you just need to follow the words exactly how they sound. So 8 more. So this 8 more would be on the right side. You're adding 8 more to what? 2 times the width. So the length is this, and then the width is just the width. So the area of the rectangle, so we know the area is this. So draw a diagram, find the dimension. So we draw the diagram, we need to find the L and the W. So how do we find these? What are they talking about? They're talking about area. It's given to us. So we're going to use the area for a rectangle. The area for a rectangle is length times width. So if I multiply this, and I know already what area is 24, so I can substitute, right? This is the area. It's equal to that. Oh. So 24 is equal to what? This. Do not use the L because they told us what L is. This. So 2W plus 8 parentheses times W. Right? Length times width. This is the length, that's the width. And now we can solve for W because we have one variable. Before we use the L, well, we're going to have 2 variables. We can't solve. We have 2 unknowns. But with 1 unknown, we can. So this one will give you, so here you would do 24. You would distribute this. So you would have 2W squared plus 8W, right? That's what we have. I just distribute. And then, since we need to solve for W and it's an equation, and that too should tell you right away it's a quadratic equation. To solve it, we can use different methods. We can factor. That would be one way. We could use quadratic formula, like different methods. But one thing you need to remember is that you need to have everything on one side if you're going to factor out. I'm going to try factoring, so I need everything on this side, and then this side would be a 0. So here I'm going to factor, solve by factoring. That's what I'm doing here. That's the method I'm choosing to do. So this becomes 0, so you have 0, so 2W squared plus 8W minus 24. Okay, here you should recognize, before you even try to factor, you should recognize that these coefficients are divisible by the leading coefficient, which is 2, so you can simplify this equation, we can divide by 2 all of it. That would keep the balance. You're not doing anything wrong. This side would just still be 0. This would be W2, right? These two cancel. This would become 4W, and this would become minus 12. Like that. Now we can factor. So we're using W for width. So two numbers multiply to negative 12 and add to 4. That would be 6 and 2. The number in the middle would be positive, so that means the bigger number here. Positive, and that one has to be negative because we want a negative here. 6 times negative 2 gives a negative 12. 6 plus negative 2 gives a positive 4. So now we have solved for that. Now we use that where you split them. W plus 6 equals 0, and W minus 2 equals 0. So minus 6 minus 6, so W equals negative 6, plus 2 plus 2, so W equals 2. Okay, this is where you have to ask yourself, width, this is length, so remember length, and we're talking about yards, right? So this is where you see these two solutions. Can our length be negative 6 or positive 2? So length cannot be negative, so you should know this is not the answer, so W would be 2. We found one of the dimensions. To find the length, all you have to do is substitute this into that W. 2 times 2, 4 plus 8, so 12 yards. This is 2 yards. Very important. And those are the answers for this one. Now let me do number 18. Number 18. So we kind of worked this. We did some of it, but I think this is the 9 weeks that we kind of covered this. We did solve this, but we did other things, but we kind of covered it. So let's see. So the first thing you need to do, because they want us to graph this, so we need to find, and you know it's a quadratic. So to graph quadratic, there's different ways of how to do it. You can find vertex. That would be one thing we need. You can also find x-intercepts. You can find y-intercepts. You could build a table, pick values, and then substitute here. But I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna use the vertex, or I can find the x-intercepts. You can find the x-intercept by factoring this. So let's do that. I know it's an inequality, but you think of it as an equation, and then at the end we can find the answer. So first thing is to factor. This is already good because we can factor this. We can make that a 0, so we're gonna make that. We're gonna find the x-intercepts here. I think that's the best way to go. Like I said, this is just a note. So the first thing is just to find the x-intercepts. So we're gonna make this a 0, the y is 0. We're gonna make this an equation because right now we don't need it to be an inequality. That would be at the end. We just find where it's touching the x-axis. So it's what we did over here, right? You're gonna factor it. So they're using x. So right away here, remember this is a quadratic, right? That should tell you what you need, these things. So two numbers are equal 5 when you multiply them and add to this, so that would be 5 and 1. And both has to be negative to equal that. And to equal this when you add them. So now split them, so x minus 5 equals 0 and that's 1 equals 0, so x would equal positive 5 and x would equal positive 1. So these are the x-intercepts, so you can write them in order pairs. For the y is always 0 for the x-intercepts, like that. So those are the x-intercepts. We can find those points here. So positive 5 or 1, 0, so 1, 0, so right there. And 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so right there. So again, this is 1, 0, and this is 5, 0. This is the x-intercepts, or the roots, or the zeros, or the solutions. Those are the names. Now, what do we need to graph? What else do we need? We need the y-intercept, and that's given to us here. Let me see if it's given to us. Yes, right there. So, second thing, y-intercept. And when the quadratic equation is in this form, you know that's the. So let me write it here. You know that's the y-intercept. So it would be, in this case, x is 0 and then the 5. So that's your y-intercepts. So let's look for it. 0 and then 1, 4, 5, right there. So this is 0, 5. This is the y-intercept. So we got 3 points. So we only need one more, the vertex. And you can use a vertex formula if you guys remember. Or you could complete the square here. That would be kind of crazy to do it. I would stay away from completing the square. I would just use the formula, which is a negative b over 2a vertex formula, and then the f of negative b over 2a, like that. So right now it's an inequality, like I know, but let's think of it as an equation. So let's write that in quadratic one. You can write the f of x here. It doesn't really affect it. So what's the a? The a is 1, and what's the b? The b is negative 6. We don't need c in the formula. So again, we're trying to find the vertex now, because we have these 2 points now. We have the y-intercepts, and we have the x-intercepts here. So let's substitute here. Let's find the h. Remember, this is the h, this is the k, this is the x, this is the y of the vertex. So the h value is equal to that formula. So negative 6 over 2 times 1. So you would get positive 6. Let me see if I'm doing it right. I don't think so. Oh yes, I am doing it right. And then 2. So positive 6, right? 2 double negatives, and then 2 times 1 is 2. So the h would be 3. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it makes sense. So that would be the h of the vertex. So now let's find the k, right? The k. which is this. The K, you substitute 3 into that equation, or even this one if that makes it easy, or the original. Let's say I'm gonna use the original in case you guys forget that you can also use this one. So 3 squared, right? I'm substituting h. H is 3, which is the x, minus 6 times 3 plus 5. So 9. 6 times 3 is negative 18 plus 5. So 9 plus 5. So this is finding K. We found K. So finding H. Should have wrote it here. I don't have space, so I'm going to leave it like that. So it's 14 minus 18 gives us negative 4. So K is negative 4. So that means the vertex is 3, negative 4. So let's find that point. Positive 3, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. So this is 3, negative 4. This is the vertex. And we have all the points that we need now. Now this is very important because this is an inequality. Like I said at the end, we need to think. So when you have in this symbol in inequality, you use dashed lines or like this. Sorry, solid lines. What am I doing? You use solid lines because of that equal signs. When you have this, that is when you use the dashed lines like that. So this inequality has the equal sign here at the bottom, so that means we're going to use solid lines. So this is going to be solid like that. Now the last step you need to think, because this is what I don't think we covered last semester. We kind of did. Is where are we going to shade, because they want us to shade. That's why I'm going over this question, because we didn't get to practice more with this. Where are we going to shade? Y is less than that equation. Less than. So y is either up or down. So if y is less than this, remember this represents this equation. This line is represented by this line. So if y is less than that line, then that parabola, that means it's going to be underneath. So that would be the answer of this problem. Hopefully I don't block the numbers. That would be the answer. Everything underneath. That's where the solutions exist, and the line included because of that equal sign. So any point on the line and below the line, it's a solution for that inequality. Any point that's here and beyond, it's not part of the solution because it does not satisfy the inequality. That's what solution of this graph, that's what it means when they're asking you for a solution of an inequality. Every point in the plane and on the line. So that would be the answer, guys. So let's move on. So I think I showed you that in the last assignment. So let me go through the last ones, and then now we can work on the other ones. I'll work on the video next time on the other ones. So 22. So 22 is asking you, and we didn't cover this. This is one of the last sections we didn't get to. This year this is different. I told you. So a retail store stocks windbreaker jackets in medium and large. So make a note. We have 2 jackets. We have 2 different sizes for it. All are available in blue, and then here we have three different choices: blue, red, green, and gray. Actually, four. And they want us to know list the combined choices. So we want to know how many choices, the combinations. So they want to know the combinations that you can wear these clothes. So this is how I do it. There's different ways. There's a thing called the fundamental counting principle. That's one way. So this is one way. I'm going to show you both ways. The fundamental counting principle just tells you that you can find the number of combinations of anything by knowing the categories. So for example, with this we have two different ones. We have windbreakers. So this is the windbreakers. Windbreak. What's the other category that we have in clothing? We have color. So windbreaker, color, windbreaker size. Sorry, well, I knew I was missing something. Windbreaker size and color, and windbreaker color. So these are the categories, not the windbreaker, the size and the color. Kind of misread that. So how many options do we have for the size? We have two options. So based on the fundamental principle, we know we have two options here. How many options do we have for the color? We have four different ones. So based on the fundamental principle, you can multiply these two times 4 to find the number of combinations, which is 8. This would be the answer. And I'm going really quick on this. Another way visually, and this would help a lot of you, is to draw a diagram. So I'm going to draw it over here because there's more space. So for the first options, we have size. We have medium, and we have large. This is for the windbreaker. Different choices, different combinations of how you can buy this windbreaker. You can buy medium or large. After that, for each of these, we have four options. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This medium, you can buy it in blue. You can buy it in reds, in green, and in gray. Same with this. Blue, red, green, and gray. So how many combinations do we have visually? We got 8, right? We know it's gonna be 8. Let me abbreviate the options. So we have a medium, blue. We have a medium, red. We have a medium, green, and we have a medium, gray. Same here, medium blue, medium red, medium green, and medium gray. Those are the options. How many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 combinations. This is the visual way. This is using the fundamental counting principle. It's less obvious, but if you know what you're doing, it's really easy. Okay, let's move on. Last two. Let's see. I think I can do this one. So 23, a marble is selected at random from a jar containing 4 red marbles, 5 yellow marbles, and 3 green marbles. This is probability. So we have a jar. Sorry. So we have 4 reds. And then we have 5 yellow. And we have how many? 3 green. Green, green, green. And they're asking what is the probability that a marble is yellow. So this is for probability. Remember, this is where you put the parts over the whole. Another way is to write it is what you want and then over everything. I don't know, just use different ways. So what is the part that you want from it? You want the yellow. How many yellows do we have? We have 5. How many are in total? The whole thing would have 12. And that would be the probability of that. 5 over 12 is the probability that is yellow. 5 over 12 that we get a yellow marble. Okay. So 24 in the test drug has side effects for 100 out of 1,000 people using drug. Let E be the event that a person using drug will have a side effects. Okay. So again, we didn't cover the probability. We can get to it. This means the prime. So it's like finding the opposite of the probability of what is it? Side effects. Not having side effects. So maybe P of E would be not having side effects. Because it's telling you let E be the event person who's using the drug will have side effects. But they want us to find the opposite of that. So probability of E tells you here is will have side effects. So present will have side effects. And P of E prime is the probability that, so the opposite of this will not have. So this tells you is the chance of the opposite. Person not, person will not have, keyword here, will not have side effects. That's what that means. So this was given to us. It means people that will have side effects. The E prime would be the opposite of this, which is people who will not have side effects. So what do they want? This one. They want this one. We know that we know this is the answer for this one. We know hundreds of 1,000 people have side effects because it's given to us. That is the chance, and you can reduce this. It would be 100, so 1 over 10. 1 over 10 would be the right answer. So they want to know the opposite of that. So that means 100 over 1,000. That means how many will not have out of those 1,000? We can take 100. That will give us 900. So 900 over 1,000. So that would give us 9 over 10. And I'm gonna stop right there, guys. That's it for this review, for this part of the video.